Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 18 betting preview. This is for the degenerates. I know you guys are here. But on a serious note, I think we have a lot to do this week. Like, I don't think there is a fault of options. Now, do you want to make a living out of betting Pats against the Jets this week? Probably not. Both teams have nothing to play for. But I'm seeing some angles here, and we'll talk about those angles. Calvin Jones in the chat. What's up, Calvin? Grind out last week. Tampa Bay should destroy the Panthers. I agree. I was a little bit nervous about Baker Mayfield's rib injury. And it looks like he's going to play. He was given the full go. So as long as he's in there, I think they beat the shit out of him. And I said it going into last week. The Panthers were the vibe pick plus 6.5, plus 7. And I told everyone, Jags are going to absolutely whoop them. And I get it. Bryce Young finally had a good game going into that, but I think they destroyed what little confidence he was able to build up. So, man, I just see that game being a slaughter. And Tampa Bay has to respond after that performance last week. It simply wasn't good enough, man. What's up? What's up, baseball MO? Week 18 loss, an awesome year, man. Yeah, we've been pretty damn good this year. We slipped on a few banana peels, but overall, I felt like 2023 was a very good year for us in terms of betting. I like what we did. So yeah, man, credit to you guys for sharing the videos and everything. AD, what's up? Hell yeah, Lawson. Let's get this damn money. Love the Raiders. Yeah, I like it too. I mean, I get it. Betting a game where two teams don't have a lot to play for when we're talking playoffs, yes, it can be considered degenerate, but I feel like we have a good angle on that. Like, let's not even talk about the matchups in that Broncos-Raiders game. Let's talk about the emotional state of the Raiders. Man, I think they're going to play hard for Antonio Pierce. And I really felt like, listen, on Patreon, we got the Raiders plus 3.5. Yeah, we had to get it last minute. But anyone who watched that game saw a Raiders team that just had a lot of bad luck. And I think they're going to run the ball down the Broncos' throat. Like, I don't think this Broncos team has proven they can stop the run. Unless you guys have seen something different in these last 3-4 weeks. I haven't seen it. James Bellamy, I'm liking the Bears versus Packers. I like the Bears too. I just wish maybe we could get that at plus 3.5. I thought maybe some bettors and would be throwing loads of money on the Packers after they whooped my Vikings ass. I felt like we can maybe get it up to 3.5. I do like the Bears. I've been thinking about that game the whole year. Zamora, we in here. How are we feeling about Houston with Will Anderson and Greenyard out? I did see Greenyard was out. Let's double check the Will Anderson, because if Will Anderson's in, I'm fine. Let's see if he's in there. Okay, he's questionable. Has he been ruled out officially? I think he's going to play, man. I think he's going to play. Noah Brown's out, which is a big blow. Jimmy Ward's still out. Like, Tunsil's questionable, but it looks like he'll play. The only one of their players who was ruled out, who's a big player, are Noah Brown and Jonathan Greenyard. I hope Will Anderson isn't out. This Colts-Texans game is dangerous. And I do feel like there are things that the Colts do better. But I also feel like it's tough to get a read on this Texans defense. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're terrible. Absolutely terrible. When they're bad, they're about as bad as it gets. But they've had some very good performances this year. Let's forget about that Tampa Bay game. But, man, I feel like this Colts defense is extremely vulnerable. I do. And I just wonder, this Colts secondary, is this the week we see Stroud expose them? And I just wonder, does Stroud have enough weapons? That's really the only thing I'm worrying about. Like, we're worried that Noah Brown is out. That's how bad the options have gotten to throw to. Yeah, man. Marcy, will Cincy cover the 7.5? I would say yes, but I don't think we can bet that. I saw it was like 6.5. I saw it bounced up to 7.5. Not really a fan of betting that game. I do wonder how many guys the Browns end up playing. That's really what it comes down to. Because if the Browns, like, let's say they sit out Myles Garrett, and let's say they sit out two of the great offensive linemen they have, like Bitonio or someone like that, I still think the Browns could give the Bengals a big challenge in the trenches. But it looks like no one's going to play. So I would go Cincinnati in that one, but I would not bet that. Golden Goop Tube. Let's hope no bullshit calls rest this week in the Detroit game. Yeah, man, they've been absolutely shocking. Listen, I don't know if you've been watching a full year, but the first like 8-9 weeks of the season, I don't think we've complained about the refs at all. Like, listen, they have missed calls, obviously, in the first 8-9 weeks, but it wasn't anything egregious. I didn't feel like they were getting in the way of games. I did have questions about some of the primetime performances in the first 9 weeks. But once we got to week 10, it's completely been an avalanche of shit that we just can't seem to escape. And it seems like every game I bet, like almost every game I bet the Browns this year, I would see a missed call. A blatant missed call, and Gene Steratore will call in on the broadcast and say, "Yup, they missed it. Browns forced a safety there, but the refs missed it." And how many times does Gene Steratore have to correct these guys on game-changing plays that involve turnovers and points? And that Lions game was an absolute shame. It was just an absolute disgrace to everything this league was built on. Did I think Dan Campbell go a little bit rogue, going for it even after the penalty? Yeah, he did. But you live by the sword, you die by the sword. But yeah, man, I just hope we get more honesty with the officiating, because it's getting really bad. It's been really bad. And the Detroit one, they came out with an excuse for it because they were getting a lot of heat. They were saying the Lions were trying to elude them, fool them. I'm not buying it, fellas. I'm not buying it. Not buying that. They're in damage control, and they threatened Dan Campbell with a monster fine if he didn't go along with it. We know that. So he changed his tune, but that was an absolute disgrace, man. Yeah, listen, man, it's not really about holding the L, because the money pick was Lions +6 for us on Tuesday. Like, we're not holding any L, and I'm not a Lions fan. They just won me an absolute boatload of money the last 2 years. And as someone who likes competition, listen, man, that wasn't a good way to end. And I know the refs missed a big tripping call before that, a few drives earlier that went against Dallas. They just shouldn't be missing blatant shit like this and putting their finger on the dial and pretty much closing games or finishing games. Yeah, man. Yeah, I did see that, Zamora. I do think it's best to get those guys out of the playoff rotation. I think that's the most we're going to get from an apology to the NFL. It just, like, listen, those of you who've been following me betting the Browns this whole year, man, they've really got us good ever since like week 8, week 9. They've just completely went to shambles, man. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Hound. We'll see if Dak is the best in the playoffs or if he chokes again. Yeah. I'm not confident about the Cowboys in the playoffs. I'm not confident. And let's say they do advance. Let's say they do take care of business. They're going to go to San Francisco, and I just can't see how they don't get buzzsawed again. Just don't see it. Yeah, man, let's get to the first Patreon question. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Okay, let's get to it. Yeah, man. John, we are due for a good teaser. What are we cooking this week? It's funny, man. It's funny because when I did the Thursday night teaser of Browns Jags, I was like, oh shit, man, Lawrence isn't playing. That hit, and then one of the obvious ones didn't hit. Let me think about it, Charles, because I think this will be a good week for a teaser. With the teaser though, I do want to kind of avoid teams with nothing to play with. And I got to get something off my chest now that a lot of you guys are in here. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. But I think the Miami Dolphins are getting absolutely jobbed. I do. I think they're getting screwed by the NFL. And when you look at Miami, when you look at why we bet them at home a lot, it's due to the home field. And the NFL managed to take home field advantage away from them. Now, let me explain. Out of all the games, I understand it's the best game of the week. But out of all the games, they got to put that at 8:30 at night. The home field advantage for the Dolphins is the heat. The home field advantage for the Dolphins is the humidity. And they got absolutely jobbed in this whole situation. And I get it. They need the Bills in the playoffs. Like, you don't want an elite quarterback sitting at home when you can watch really bad quarterbacks in the playoffs. They obviously don't want that. But the Dolphins are getting absolutely jobbed, and I don't know why I'm the only one noticing it. Because if Buffalo loses, there is a huge possibility they're out of the playoffs. Someone can put the percentages in the chat, but it is a huge possibility. And I just feel like, everything's going against the Dolphins regardless. And someone correct me if I'm wrong. I've been watching NFL for 30 years. Throughout my entire life, for most of my life, all the games would take place at the same time, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. And it kills the spectacle. It kills the drama, splitting them up, and it gives teams unfair advantages. And I wonder what Miami's motivation level is going into this game against the Bills. Obviously, they're going to get a better seed if they win the AFC East. If the Dolphins lose, they're still in the playoffs. It's not the same for the Bills. I just feel like they eliminated a great bet for us. I feel like they completely slashed it, threw it out, and we can't bet it. And like Hound was saying on Patreon, it's probably smarter to go with the fucking Bills if you're going to bet that game. And yeah, man. How are the Dolphins awful? Oh, Pat. Yeah, Pat. Come on, Pat. They've been a covering machine. Yeah, man. Listen. The two massacres that they took against the Ravens and the Bills were embarrassing. And I get someone who says, "Oh, Dolphins are overhyped," but that happens in this league. And the Bills one was absolutely inexcusable. The Ravens one, I just felt like that unraveled. I actually felt like the Dolphins played a pretty damn good first half, and then they just unraveled in the second. And then Chubb does his ACL. Now they got Phillips and Chubb both out. They're two best pass rushers. I felt like that demoralized the team. But yeah, man, Pat, like I'll take your opinion as this, man. I am a little bit worried about Mike McDaniel. I've been the biggest Mike McDaniel guy there is. I've been watching the Hard Knocks, and I haven't seen anything that rubbed me the wrong way. We know he's got his style. It's a bit cringe. Say what you will about it. You can form your own opinion. But I am a little bit worried how they're collapsing again late in the year. Last year, he had an excuse. Like, he had a great excuse last year. I felt like they were turning the corner when they grinded that game out against Dallas. I was rather impressed. Because when you think of the Dolphins, you don't think of grinding type performances. Yeah, man. Let's see what the chat says, but I just feel like the Dolphins are in a really bad place. Last time they had a night game, we saw them blow that game to the Titans. That's obviously one they're going to be thinking about all year if the Bills beat them. Okay. I mean, Dolphins beating a lot of good teams. They beat the Cowboys. I mean, Brian Webb, what's up, Lawson? We have won so much money with the Dolphins. Yeah, and maybe I do get a little bit, how is it, tunnel vision, a little bit of like autistic performance, because all I worry about is the spreads at this point. Like, I'm a fan of whoever's making us money. Yes, I have always been a Vikings fan. Do I like when they lose? No. But at this point, if the Vikings lose and they cover and they win my viewers money, I'm going to feel very good about it. So like I relate to the fan. It's just I don't get tribal with it anymore because we can't afford to. There's too much money. This YouTube has fucking, what is it, 27,000 subscribers. I can't afford to get tribal. We have to watch all these 32 teams and try to look at them in an unbiased way. Like, are there teams in this league like I don't like? Yeah. Are there coaches I don't like? Yeah. But we got to put the biases aside, man. Waddle's probably going to play, my man. Waddle's probably going to play. From the information I saw earlier today, he's going to play, but we'll see. Maybe the final injury report normally comes out like 4:30. I couldn't find it before we went on air. Yeah, okay, here we go. No, Noah. Noah, you're not getting away with that. Miami hasn't covered against a team above 500. They covered against the Cowboys. Come on now. Come on now. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Come on, man. Yes, Jarrett, but it's Miami not humid, Jarrett. Miami not humid, Jarrett. Come on now. 1 o'clock in Miami, you go from like fucking 30 degrees in Buffalo to 74 with 70% humidity. Bro, that's going to make a difference. That's a big advantage. It's a big advantage. And then I also feel like Miami is just better on that grass surface. Normally it's counterintuitive, right? Like, you want the fast stallions on the turf. And then if you're like a running team like the Bears, you want to have that regular grass like the Steelers. But, man, they just play better down there. Yeah. Okay, here we go. First super chat from Kane Anthony Suarez. Sorry, I just tuned in live. Can you give me your top 6 pick this week? Thank you for your information. I love your energy, man. Money. I'll give you one. Because I post them on Patreon tonight after we do the show. I'll tell you one I like. Man, I'm liking the Raiders. As of right now, that's probably my best bet, unless we see some sort of information come across. But I like the Raiders, man. That's my favorite. And one I've been considering all day, and I don't know about you guys, but one I've been considering all day is the Pats. Do I want to pull the trigger? Do I don't? That's one I've been thinking about. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. No, Noah, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. When I picked it on Tuesday, it was -1.5. -1, and it closed about right there. Like, come on, man. Don't try to backpedal. They covered. I mean, that's backpedaling. Like, you can go watch the video. It's all on fucking tape. It didn't get up to 2.5, bro. you could maybe find one book out of like 5,000 books that had it there, but no. And this official site that keeps track of the records, they won there, opening and closing line. Yeah, man. What's up, J-Sup? What's up, J-Sup? Liking anything this week, J-Sup? Listen, man, I feel like for like the Degen week, we got some pretty good options. Obviously, when two teams have nothing to play for, we could get in a little bit of trouble. But yeah, man. I do think we have some good options. All right, next Patreon question. My bad, Patreon users going on a fucking rant about the Dolphins. Gianni Mendoza, my slate I'm rocking with this week. Texans -1, Pats money line, Bears +3, Raiders -2.5. Absolutely love that. Can I ask a question though? You guys know I've never been a big Seahawks guy. Last year or this year, I think maybe we only bet the Seahawks once this year. Is it just me, or is this Seahawks -2.5 looking tempting? And like Gianni, about the only one I would gripe with is a little bit nervous about the Bears +3. I really like the Bears in this game. I think they're going to win the fucking game, but I'll tell you what, I'm a little bit nervous about it. I am. But if their defense comes to play, they'll win the game. And I believe it will. That's the only one on that list I'm a bit nervous about. I do like the Pats money line. I do like the Pats money line. Yeah, I just maybe the only other one I would ask you maybe to consider this week is maybe the Seahawks one. Like, and I get the fundamentals. I get the fundamentals. You don't like betting a team in the desert, especially with the Cardinals coming off a big win. But honestly, when the Seahawks run the ball well, they normally win. And I know Geno Smith is playing like absolute shit. He's been shit this year, man. He was shit the whole second half of last year. He's been shit this whole year. He holds the ball too long. And one thing that's crazy about him holding the ball long is look at these receivers and tight ends. They got 2 good tight ends, 3 fucking good receivers, a white slot guy, Jake Bobo, coming on strong. Yeah, man. Patrick Kuna sends a super chat. Thanks, Pat. What about over under in Texans games? Thank you for the super chat. Let's take a look what it's at right now. This wasn't one of my money picks on the over unders when I did the video. 47.5. I like the over. Actually, I really do like this over. Now, hear me out. Listen, this Colts offense, they are sputtering a little bit. But like I said earlier in the show, I don't trust this Texans defense all that much. And I do feel like this Texans defense it is running out of gas. And I feel like Steichen will have a masterclass game plan. And I do think both teams definitely get into the 20s. But on the other side, this is a Colts defense that I feel like is talent deficient. Outside of DeForest Buckner, no one is winning battles, stopping the run. And I like EJ Speed. I like their linebackers. But if you look at the frame, if you look at the shape of them, they're very, very small. And they're not able to stay in the run fits. And the Texans have been running this ball better the last, 6-7 weeks. And I also think this Colts secondary is extremely vulnerable. Aiden O'Connell was slanging it on him, and Aiden O'Connell left a lot of stuff on the table. But we've been talking about how weak this Colts front seven is the whole year. I honestly think the big Achilles heel is their secondary. And I think Stroud gets cooking, man. I think Stroud, with his life, his season on the line, he's going to put up points, man. And we've seen this man put on master classes. And I got to tell you, man, I don't think I've seen, outside of like Manning, Brady, I don't think I've seen a better performance than CJ Stroud against the Buccaneers earlier this year. I don't think I have. And yeah, man, and Texans didn't come to play week 2. So we got to just chuck that all out. I think the Colts will put up points. I think the Texans will put up points. I could see the Texans even getting into the 30s. Like, I see like a 28-24 type game. Give me the over, man. I like that, Pat. Zamora sends a super chat. What do you think of my parlay, and would you take a team off? If so, what game would you replace it with? Houston -1, Vegas -3, Giants +5.5, Seattle -3, Buffalo -3, Chicago +3. Yeah, man. I feel like that's going to be a tough one, just due to the sheer amount of games. But if I had to take off one of those, I would probably take off Houston. No, actually, I would take off Chicago, because I haven't looked at the betting trends yet, but I imagine a lot of money's on the Bears. It just seems too easy. It seems like a fucking layup at this point. That would be the one I would take off for safety concerns, and I would put the Pats on. But I like the way you're thinking, my man. I like the way you're thinking. Yeah, and that Eagles-Giants one, what is it at still? Because someone told me there was a little bit of line movement. Let's see what that's at right now. Okay, let's see what we're getting on that now. So I'm on the over-unders right now. Let me get to the spread. Yeah, man, I hope everyone had a good New Year's. Yeah, it's at 5.5. I like the Giants, but I'm kind of colder on that one. So I'm colder on that than I was before. But I got to tell you, man, this Giants team has looked pretty damn good. And Tyrod Taylor played absolutely magnificent against the Giants. Yeah, Mike, Mike, at a certain point, I have to just sit out this Miami game. Like, I understand, like, Bills look like the obvious bet right now. But the reason why I wouldn't bet the Bills is because I sat through that Chargers game. I sat through that Pats game last week. And I got to tell you guys, I wasn't impressed. The same issues are there. The lack of creativity on offense. The lack of getting Stephon Diggs involved. So, yeah, man. Yeah, Jared, there is just too many. Like, if he teased it, I would be good with it. But even if you tease one that big, it's tough, man. It's tough. Especially with some of these refereeing decisions, man. At a certain point with these refereeing decisions, if it's a close game, you're kind of flipping a coin. Brigade. Okay, let's get to next question from Derek. Hey, man, what do you think of this 7-point teaser? What 1 to 2 games would you take off, replace with something else, if any? Thanks, and hope you have a great week, Derek. I'm having a fucking good week, man. Hope you're doing well, too. Detroit +3.5. I like it. Chicago +10. Love it. Dallas -6. Yeah, but this Commanders defense is terrible. I would take the Dallas one off instantly. There just isn't enough to play for there. Like, obviously, the Cowboys need to win that game. They would lose a seeding if they lost and Detroit won. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And I would just take that off. I would just take that off. Like at 6, I know the Commanders suck. If the Cowboys want to, they could probably butcher them by 20 to 30 points. I would just take that off due to fundamentals. Vegas plus 4.5, love it. Philly plus 1.5. Buffalo plus 4.5. I would take off Philly and Dallas. And like, listen, I think Philly should win the game. It's just the way they're playing right now. I don't think you could. I think that's a low number for them. So Derek, that's where I'm at. Jeremy Wheel, Bears seem confident. Loss in second half of the season. They stepped it up. I feel like they can pull off the upside. Yeah, man, that defense has been absolutely phenomenal. They've been absolutely phenomenal since Montez Sweat got there. And I was high on the Bears going into the season. Like, I looked like a buffoon. Like, we had such a good week 1. The only loss was me betting Bears against the Packers, and I looked like a fucking idiot. It's because they've had so many injuries earlier in the year. And I like your use of the word confident, because they just had no confidence earlier in the year. And once that secondary got healthy, I love the way that secondary is playing. Like, they got a bunch of young, hungry dudes. Like Brisker is playing phenomenal. And I had the same questions about the Packers. Like, here are my questions about the Packers. My first question is, does this team play with enough heart? Does this team have enough coaching on both sides of the ball? Is Jordan Love any good? Can the Packers run the ball? But the principal issue is this Packers wide receiving core, there's just no dogs there. And I got a lot of pushback early in the year because people thought Christian Watson was a dog. Like, he's not a dog. And I think if the Bears play a lot of zone, but honestly, like, I think if they go man to man, I think they can beat up these Packers skills positions. Like, the only skill position I like from the Packers, Aaron Jones has just been a complete non-factor this year due to injuries. The only one I like is like Musgrave, the tight end. Outside of that, like, I don't feel like there's anyone who can win those one-on-one battles or make a contested catch. And I do think Matt LaFleur kind of sucks. And I don't think we've ever seen a coach in this league get a huge free pass like he's got it in the last 3 seasons. I feel like he's made a lot of blunders, and I feel like people are really, really excited about the Packers now because they beat a Minnesota team with Jaron Hall at quarterback. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ryan 731. I'm thinking about going real heavy on the Texans -1. This playoff entrance game, and to me, I feel like the Texans are a more well-rounded team here. I completely agree. Would I go extra large like a college fund? You guys saw on Patreon, I only went college fund 3 times this year. We're 2-0 with a push. Should have been 3-0, but fuck it. This would not be a college fund game for me. Would like to hear your thoughts on this one because I feel like this should be a college fund type bet. Thanks for your hard work this year. Ryan, I like your initiative, and what you said is completely true. Top to bottom, this Texans roster is just better. And I will probably be betting the Texans. Can I tell you something that's worrying me, though? This Texans injury report, man. Like, Greenyard being out, like I said earlier in the show, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't change any of my analysis of this game. But, like, they're without Tank Dell. Noah Brown's playing great. He has good chemistry with CJ. Noah Brown's going to be out. And, yes, you still got, like, Woods, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz. And they're getting production out of Singletary at running back. But I do worry about it. And that's one thing that takes away, like, me wanting to hammer it. A normal bet is fine on this because what you said is 100% true. And I think this Colts defense is a bunch of frauds. And we need Will Anderson. We need him to play this game for the Texans pick to go through. I feel like this Colts offensive line, they spent a lot of money on it, but I don't think they're really good. Like, we saw the Falcons absolutely eat their lunch 2 weeks ago. We just need Will Anderson, man. We need a little bit of that spark on the defensive line so we can win one-on-one battles, and then we're Gucci. We're Gucci if Will Anderson plays. Rip Jaw, pleading my case on taking the Eagles spread, especially if it has moved considerably. They are a mess. Nobody is questioning that. Personally, I don't think there is any drama coming out of the locker room outside of play calling. Yeah, I think most of the drama is about the play calling, especially offensively. Those guys ride for each other. As tough as the fans and media in Philly, I think we should be looking at this like an Alamo game for the Eagles. Okay, I see the psychology. They 100% have to play to win. They could still win the division with a no-names upset against the Cowboys. As unlikely as that is. And at this point, either Sirianni or the players themselves are playing for pride after getting embarrassed by Gannon's return to Philly. Yeah, that was embarrassing, man. And letting John Gannon, pew, pew, pew. With all the drama and their play calling issues, definitely play calling. There is crap that needs to be worked out before the playoffs. They're at least going to try to get that worked out. If they limit Hurts, Mariota is still probably one of the better backups in the league. Okay. Now, I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. And Mariota listen, he wasn't too good with Atlanta last year, but he was decent. But I don't know how much preseason Mariota you watched for the Eagles this year. He was absolutely terrible. I mean, there was even talks of him getting cut. I don't know if he's gotten better, if he was with an injury during preseason, but the fact he was almost cut, I mean, that makes me raise a fucking eyebrow. But I get everything you're saying, but the fact is that what you said in the thing you wrote was they might limit Hurts. I want no part of that. I want no part of that, man. But you're 100% right on the psychological perspective. But can I tell you one thing I'm worried about? I'm worried about that fucking defense. I mean, when you got to go to Matt Patricia mid-year, you know you're in trouble, man. You know you're in trouble. Okay, John, if the Eagles lose to the Giants and then lose to the Bucs wildcard weekend, do they blow that team up? Good question. Good question. Because honestly, I don't think they lose to the Giants. I'm just not sure they win by more than 5.5. And I don't think the Bucs is a great matchup for them. Now, earlier in the season, they ran the ball up and down on the Bucs. So I had to eat a little bit of crow on that. But I do feel like that's a bad matchup for them. And just the way that Cardinals game went last week, I don't know why they're not using the running game more. I think they're vulnerable. And I wonder, I don't, like, for me, man, I don't think they could blow the team up due to all the big contracts they have. I just don't think they could. I mean, maybe someone else has looked at their cap and contract situation. It's going to be hard, man. Aaron sends 50 Mexican pesos. What's good, Lawson? Good work, like always. Thank you, Aaron. What do you think about the over on the Houston game and Saints money line? I would stay away from the Saints money line. I would stay away from that. I'll go on a rant about that soon. But I absolutely love the over in the Colts Texans game. I talked about it maybe 15 minutes before, but I'll give you a quick synopsis. I think this Colts defense is fraudulent, especially in the secondary. And I think C.J. Stroud will exploit that. And the Colts really don't have a pass rush. And I know Laramie Tunsil's banged up for the Texans. It looks like he's going to play. The Texans have been protecting pretty good this year. And the run game is progressively getting better, something the Colts struggle with. And I'm not sure the Colts, I know the Colts are going to have a good game plan. And I feel like this Texans defense is reeling a little bit, so I absolutely love the over. I think a 28-24 scoreline, a 30-24 type scoreline is in store here, especially if we see Stroud in rhythm. When Stroud gets in rhythm, he can put up 30 against a good team. And listen, we got to respect Steichen. These are the two best rookie coaches in the league. Steichen versus D'Amico. I think both are going to bring it. I want to see what D'Amico does. Will he be able to stop the Colts? I just know Steichen will be able to move the rock. I get why people are, and thank you for the donation, my friend. And about the Saints-Falcons game, I'm worried about it. Let's get to one of the questions on Patreon that dealt with it. Victor Verdon back with the money pick. Falcons plus 3.5. Money. Low total. Arthur Smith against the ropes. They're going to run the damn ball, and who can really trust Carr and Dennis Allen? I echo that sentiment. And one thing, Aaron, I worry about with the Colts, like everyone wants to talk about Carr. Everyone wants to say, oh, Carr sucks. And this was how Carr was with the Raiders. Like, listen, the reason why Carr's hurt and has been hurt this whole year, and listen, I'm not defending Carr. I just think all the Carr focus is a lazy take by the media and fans. Carr hasn't been good this year. Let's just start it with that. But I feel like this team has aged drastically when we're talking offensive line, when we're talking defensive line, in the secondary. Marshawn Lattimore is not going to come out and play. And we're seeing the Saints team that struggles in the trenches. And one thing Atlanta can do, maybe the only thing they can do on offense, is run the ball. And I think we're going to see a lot of Atlanta running it. And I do like this situation. I do like this spot for the Falcons. I think the Falcons can steal this game. And one thing I don't like about the Saints, like, listen, there's been a lot of focus on Arthur Smith this year, and I started some of that. But one thing I'm worried about is Pete Carmichael and the Saints. Like, I don't know if there's an offense in the league that is lacking creativity to the level of that guy. Like, the play calling just isn't good. The rhythm isn't good. They make a ton of mistakes. We just know Atlanta's not going to get any quarterback play. That's the only worry. But I do think Atlanta does enough, man. And I think Atlanta can push this team around. And I think Atlanta has good matchups against the Saints secondary. I feel like they have a lot of good matchups. Whew. Okay. Let's get to the next question. I'm in rant mode today, man. I'm in rant mode. Big Al, when betting an upset such as Ravens +3, how much of my $100 wager should be placed in a spread and how much on the money line? Is there a typical split such as 80-20 that the math suggests when betting any underdog to win and to cover? Well, it depends what the payout is, firstly. So let's think about what Ravens money line is. Let's go look at that so we can walk through it, Al. No, let's look at it. Let's look at money line in that game. So money line for the Ravens is +150. If you bet the spread, it's -110. I don't feel like you're getting enough value there to do that. Like, if you were getting like +240, +300 for the money line, I would do it. But I would not suggest that there. But let's say you were getting like a +350 and the spread was like +6. I would probably go 80-20 like you said, if I was feeling really good. I don't like double dipping on games though. I gotta tell you guys, like, when I bet. And we got some soccer ones coming tonight if you want some bigger pulls. But yeah, I kind of agree with your 80-20 sentiment. I can't disagree with it. I just don't know if this is the time to do it when the difference. Like, listen, hitting a +150 is good, but we've pretty much done that every week when we posted soccer. It's just, I'm not into it, especially with the Ravens motivation level. Okay. Canyon Wiz, what's up, Canyon? How much stock do you put into these incentive prop bets? Like, for instance, I'm tempted to take Hopkins over 49.5 since he's 49 yards away from 500K or so. There's more like that, but I'm curious as to your opinion. Okay, let me bring something up because, firstly, Someone was asking me a question today, like, do these normally hit? And yes, they normally do. They normally do, or they miss by like 3 yards and someone gets screwed. So here are the relevant player incentives. Odell Beckham, 5 receptions for 250K. Nelson Aguilar, 58 reception yards for 250K. Dalton Schultz, 4 receptions for 250K. I love that. I love that. I like Dalton Schultz against the Colts. They're not good at covering tight ends. Devin Singletary, 73 scrimmage yards for 250. DeAndre Hopkins, 49 receiving yards for 1 mil, 7 receptions for 250K. Then you got Eckler, 110 total yards, and Adam Troutman. Here's my rule for that. DeAndre Hopkins, Cannon, you already had the nail beaten. Here's my rules with that. 1, you want to make sure there's nothing to play for. There's fuck all to play for. And secondly, since the Titans are going to try to win the game, obviously. But as you know, DeAndre Hopkins just spent the whole week with that team, and they know about it, and he certainly reminded him, especially with his type of personality. Like, I think that one is set up perfect, man. I also like the Nelson Aguilar one. But yeah, my rule is if the team has nothing to play for, they're going to pump the guy the ball, man. They're going to pump him. That's where I'm at. Quack! I feel like Dallas money line is a college fund bet this week. I'm all in on the boys winning the game. Tell me I'm wrong. Well, they were in a similar situation, I think, the last week of the season last year, and the Commanders beat them. Quack. Okay, let's look at the payout. Quack, I love you, man, but you're going to make me explode. Minus 800? Quack. When we do college fun games, you've seen 3 college fun games this year. They've all been like minus 110, minus 115. Because the 800, you're going to overexpose yourself. Like I don't think this is a Eagles-Cardinals situation last week. I don't think it is. So it's just risky when you got that minus 800, my man. Like FanDuel's got it at minus 950. Bet365 has it at minus 870. So we're looking at even higher than minus 800 on a lot of bucks. Quack, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, man. You'll have to bet like 3 or 4 G's to make it worth your time. I've done this before, but I just don't think it's a great strategy. Like, I've never liked this strategy, and it's a great way to get burned. Like, listen, I did this when I was like 19 and 20 once my bankroll was built up. And yes, it does work, but you're always going to get burned that one time. Always. And I think we got other meat on this platter this week. Am I wrong, chat? Like, I feel like we got other meat on this platter to bat. Like, I don't think we're just looking at like one slice of bologna. I feel like we have a nice tray out here to choose from, but maybe you're viewing the board different this week. Busy Gal sends $10. Happy New Year from Andrew and Kelly from Vegas. I hope you guys have a wonderful 2024. Always like hearing from you, Busy. Yeah, man. How is Vegas? And I've never been. Like, how is Vegas to live? That's kind of my main question. Like, listen, we get it. You can gamble. You can gamble high amounts easier than with the internet. We get it. But I always wondered how it was to live in Las Vegas. And what's up, Campbell? Melia, I agree with you, man. I agree. It's just, but anyways, like if Quet wants to do it, he's got to do it, man. RJ, hey Lawson, Happy New Year. What's up, RJ? Just wanted to throw out a couple props. I'm really liking Dalton Schultz over 4.5 receptions. We all know the Colts are bad against tight ends. I like that one. And Devin Singletary's 60-plus rush yards aren't great against the run either. I went below his rush lines just to be safe. I'm parlaying those with the Texans' money line using a 25% parlay boost on FanDuel for plus 437 odds. I know you don't like parlays, but I'm pretty confident it will hit, guys. Yeah, I like that one. But yeah, same rules apply with parlays. We know how they go. But yeah, I like that. And man, Singletary's been playing really fucking good ball the second half of this year. Really good ball. And like you said, the Colts can't stop the run. And Dalton Schultz has had a quiet, great season for a tight end. I mean, we're just in the golden era of tight ends at this point. So, like, you look at guys like Ferguson on the Cowboys. You look at Dalton Schultz on the Texans. No one really notices them, and they're balling out. Stoley, J-Law, alongside your bets, do you have one or two locks for over-under you're feeling? Stoley, let me go look at the over-unders again. Because I talked myself into the Texans-Colts one. I absolutely love that. And let's get another one. I'm trying to remember back to the video. Okay, here we go. Colts, Bears. Bears-Packers under. Bears-Packers under. I absolutely love that. If you don't like the Bears-Packers under, I really like Seattle Cardinals over the 47.5. I know a lot of you guys don't like betting unders, but I feel like this Bears-Packers under is a good situation. Like when I picked it, it was at 43. Now it's up to 45. I feel like we're getting good value there. Justin Fields hasn't been playing all that well. We know the Packers defense struggles against the run, but I think this Bears defense will be the story of the game. So yeah, man. I those would be my over-unders. Ron Borkwin, hey, lost some thoughts on 6-point teaser. Bears +9, like it. Giants +11.5. Titans +10. Give me a second to think, Ron. Okay, Bears I like. I like that. Giants +11.5. Yes, I do. The only question is, like, do the Eagles go mask off and try to slaughter the Giants? But the other question is, can the Eagles even slaughter the Giants if they want to now? So I like the Giants +11.5. Titans +10. Yeah, the fundamentals of Titans +10 is great. But I think there could be a possibility the Jags would shed them, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, you get Vrabel. You get Vrabel with 10 points. That's not a bad bet. It's just I would think about adding something else instead of that Titans one. Like, I know a lot of you guys think the Titans can win. Like, I get it. But I don't think people understand just how bad this defense is. Like, we know the offense has been terrible. Every time Ryan Tannehill's played after week 6, every time he's played, he's gotten a few opportunities. He's been absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. I mean, you might be getting Malik Willis because the Titans' O-line can't block anyone. And we know the Jags got, like, Allen, who's a good pass rusher. They got other dogs up front. Man, and if the Titans should be able to run the ball, but you never know with them. And I don't think people realize just how bad this Titans defense is. No Jeff Simmons. They don't have a good edge rusher. Like, you got D'Amico Autry. You got other dogs who play in the interior, but there's no one to rush the passer. And this secondary is bottom 5 in the league, in my opinion. They just don't get picked on a lot because Mike Vrabel is an absolute genius tactician. That's my take on that. Lino Frosto! Yo, what's good, Playboy? How's the new year treating you so far? I'm doing great, man. I'm going to be all over my Bears this week. They got the number 1 pick wrapped up, plus a top 10 pick. Thank you, Carolina. I hope they butt slam ravage the Packers to keep them clowns out the playoffs. What do you think the front office should do? Move Fields for another first-round pick, fire Eberflus, and hire Belichick? What's your thoughts, my guy? Thank you for all the hard work you put in every day for degenerates, especially me. Peace. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, Lino. Would Belichick go to the Bears? Listen, I think Belichick's going to get fired either way. I think he's going to get fired because he's not going to give up the GM responsibility. I've always just kind of thought Bill, the hoodie, was going to go to the Chargers, where he has a quarterback already. But like you presented, with this young Bears defense playing good ball, with the number 1 overall pick in a great quarterback class, maybe the best quarterback class since the Manning Leaf, forgetting who the other guy was in that class. This is the best quarterback class we've seen in a while. Let's see if they can get him there. But you might have to give him full GM control, and I just don't think I would do that. And I don't think they can get a first-round pick for Justin Fields. But if I was Atlanta and I had a chance to get Justin Fields first, second-round pick, I'd bite your hand off. I'd absolutely bite your hand off if he's in a situation like Atlanta. I wouldn't hold on to Justin Fields, Lino, because, listen, I've been right about a lot of shit the last 3 years. But one thing I was wrong about was him. Listen, I wasn't high on him coming out of college, but I really felt after last year, remember that 5-game period he had in the middle of the year last year? I really felt like Justin Fields could evolve. He was absolutely phenomenal, and he was one of the funnest players to watch, during that 6-period stretch in the middle of the year last year. And he's just been absolutely terrible at times this year. And even this winning streak with the Bears, we haven't really seen a whole lot from them. It's just their defense dominating. Man, that's where I'm at. I think they should try to trade him. We'll see if they can get him, but everyone needs a quarterback. Everyone needs a quarterback. Okay, here we go. I think we got through all the Patreon questions. Gus, hey, boss man, what are your top 3 games that we should not bet at all? Stay the fuck away from at all costs. Thanks for your hard work and research this season. Let's get this money for playoffs. I'm looking forward to fucking playoffs this year. I'll give you 3 games that you shouldn't bet. Now, the first one, let me get to the first one. 3 games you shouldn't bet. Browns, Bengals. I don't think we should be doing that. I don't think we have an angle. We don't know if the Browns are going to rest everyone or play a few people. We know Flacco's not playing. Just stay off that Browns-Bengals one. Another one is Vikings-Lions. I know Dan's saying he's going to play the starters the whole game, and we know Minnesota looked absolutely terrible last week, but I don't think Dan Campbell's going to go all that hard. I mean, even if they win the game, there's not a lot they can do playoff-wise unless, the Cowboys lose. Even then, I think they're limited. And the third one would be Rams 49ers. I don't think we got an angle here. There was someone in the chat posting the angle. I forgot what it was. It was something about McVay, Shanahan. But, yeah, man, the Rams aren't going anywhere. They're stapled into their seed, and the 49ers are stapled into their seed. I don't see any angle we could get there. Cowboys, Commanders as well. So I gave you 4, Gus. All right. So I don't think we have Lauren or Mike tonight. So going to just work the chat. Let's see what the chat's saying. Hey, Lawson, what is your best Super Bowl matchup? Can I be honest about something? I think there's a possibility the Browns can get to the Super Bowl. I was talking about this with JSAP maybe week 14. I feel like the Browns, if there's a dark horse to get to the Super Bowl, I feel like they could be the dark horse this year, the one that shocks everyone. But my ideal Super Bowl matchup this year in terms of pure entertainment, I'll just give you the one I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see the 49ers, who I had preseason. Something tells me the Ravens slip on a banana peel. Something tells me they slip on a banana peel. I'm going to go 49ers, and I'm going to go Browns. The AFC is a lot murkier than the NFC. The NFC seems pretty straightforward. I say that now, and then we see the Eagles win 3 straight games, or we see the Rams come up with a killer upset. I say that now. Oh, bring that. But okay, Conk says McVay is owned by Shanahan, and Rams are sitting off. Yeah, I like the under in that game, but when guys are sitting, it makes me nervous. But I don't know, man. This Browns defense is really legit, and we have to remember, man, this Browns team has gotten so unlucky this year. A lot of it is their fault. They make about 5-6 critical errors a game. If they just clean it up a little bit, they can do something, man. I'm telling you. Now they get a little bit of rest. Like, you get Amari Cooper a little bit of rest. You get Myles Garrett a little bit of rest. You get Denzel Ward, who's been banged up the whole second half, a little bit of rest. They're looking fucking formidable going. And their offensive line with Batonio and Wyatt Teller, they need to get those guys healthy too, because both were hurt in the second half of the season for a few games. Kind of funny, Bears stuck with Mitch Trubisky, and now they got a good quarterback, and they're going to trade him. We'll see if they do, man. Like I said, I was a big Justin Fields guy last year. He helped us win some money, but I've been disappointed by him this year. I like watching him play. I feel like he's less dynamic this year than last year. I've been kind of disappointed with Fields. And about Russell Wilson, they're going to end up cutting him. They've already pretty much cut him. They're just waiting till the league year opens. They're going to eat like $35 million cap. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Chunky Keys, what's up, Lawson? Finally caught you live. Nice to see you, my guy. Nice to see you, man. Yeah, man. I was thinking about maybe moving the time of this show next year, but I can't think of a time that would be better, because on Patreon, you guys know, after the show, I look at the injury reports, get the soccer bets in, and then I post on Patreon. It just always kind of worked like that. But I do wonder, it would be cool maybe to change the time around, like maybe like Friday at noon, but people have to work and shit. Yeah, man. Okay, keep the time betting. Okay, Flacco versus Ravens, an AFC game. That would be good, Zamora. That would be good, man. Okay, let's get into this. Did you see Aaron Rodgers' comments about the Super Bowl logos and their colors versus who won the last few years ago? Last year, red and white Chiefs won. Year before, black and orange Bengals won. Okay. This year, the logo is purple. Well, how the fuck are we going to get the Vikings in there, man? Oh, you're thinking the Ravens. You're thinking the Ravens. I did see Rodgers joking about that. I felt like he was in troll mode. I'm sure you guys saw the stuff he said about Jimmy Kimmel. Not sure if you saw that, but I always like watching Rodgers interviews. I've been a fan. Even though he was a Packers player, I've always been a fan of Rodgers. I think he's kind of trolling with that. Like, I don't think he seriously believes that. It is crazy that the colors hit, though. Like, you guys are right. Like, it is kind of wild. It is kind of wild. Yeah, like, and listen, Rodgers has been right about a ton of stuff, but I do agree with Ida Sema that he is reaching a little bit now. Like, this is coming from a fan of his, but anyways, like, he might get Pat McAfee kicked off ESPN. Pat McAfee cut a promo on a ESPN executive today. So, like, as a fan of the show, like, listen, do I sit down and religiously watch 3 hours straight? No, but I do like watching a show as background noise when you clean your room, when you're looking at lines. Like, I like it like that. Or you turn on like NBA 2K4, or you play some PlayStation with that in the background. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy. Busy gal. Hey, Lawson, do you ever watch hockey? No. Man, can I be honest? Like, I think hockey's a great sport. It's just, listen, I'm not saying I was Usain Bolt when I was a kid, but I've always been pretty athletic. Always played football, basketball, baseball. I always wanted to play hockey, but your boy can't skate. Like, I can't skate. I don't know why. Like, I can't rollerblade. I can't skate. I can't do any of those things. But maybe I should start watching hockey, because the off season is long and boring. You guys know I watch a lot of soccer, but kind of like, I don't know about you guys, but don't you guys kind of need two sports going the same time? During this, like, September to January, February, I just need NFL and I'm good. But the rest of the year, I feel like you need two sports you like if you don't have NFL. We will be betting the UFL on Patreon this year. Anyone who was on Patreon last year, they will attest. We made an absolute killing on it. The hard part was me having to watch the games. But other than that, man, that was fun to bet. Yeah, man, I'll try to get into hockey, because I have more free time after the season. And why not watch a game? It's quick, fast-paced, and I like the physicality. They're trying to take the physicality out of the NFL. That's one thing Rodgers and Brady were complaining about this year. And I think they're completely right. So any sport that has physicality, and I respect the NHL players, like, man, they put in a lot of fucking work, put their body on the line, and it's a lot more competitive than the NBA. I used to be a big NBA fan, like the type, like I would get the NBA ticket and I would nerd out during the week when NFL was on watching NBA. Guys, I just can't do the NBA anymore, man. I can't do the NBA. Like, the only good thing the NBA has going for it is the NBA 2K video game, because Madden sucks. So, like, the only thing that keeps me remotely interested is the video game. Yeah. Listen, and I love the sport of basketball. I just don't think the type of basketball they have in the NBA is really what the game's about. Yeah, man, my favorite team ever was Iverson and the Sixers. I used to love watching them. I used to love watching the Sacramento Kings when they had Weber, Vlade Divac, Bibby. It was awesome, man. Brian Webb, thank you so much, Lawson, for a great season. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. We made a lot of money with you this year. Let's get this money. We will do very well during the playoff. 3 picks you think I love: Texas, Packers, Rams. Yeah, but Brian, I appreciate it, my guy. It's always great having you on the Friday show. Always great to talk to you, my man. So yeah, I appreciate it. Like, and we've done pretty damn well this year. Like I said, like, you're always going to get those banana peels. Brandon Staley fucking you out of money. Like, we got that against the Titans earlier in the year. That's one that's fucking sticking with your boy. But yeah, man, I appreciate it. And I feel like we've done very well this year. We can always be better. So got to keep improving. Brian, I just want to know, like, what's your methodology for the Rams game? I know someone tried to explain it to me. Like, what's the methodology there? Like, we're not getting any Matt Stafford. Like, are you guys just betting Carson Wentz? Carson Wentz getting a start, right? So what's your angle? Are you guys betting like Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold? Do you think the Rams have more depth than the 49ers? Like, what's the angle of that one? And I like the Texans a lot. Like, with the Packers, man, I get the fundamentals of it. I would not follow Matt LaFleur into any sort of trench. And I think he's a guy who just hasn't gotten enough criticism. Thank you for the super chat, Brian. Always good to hear from you, man. Are you going to watch your Bengals this weekend? Are you going to watch them? Are you going to have like 3 TVs, have the Bengals on one game? I've watched my Vikings so many times in Week 18. Colin, I'm genuinely curious because some of these guys got good angles. Like, I get the angles, and I have a lot of people who follow this channel. They do good with preseason because they know more about the college players, the inexperienced players than a lot of people, and they can find some sort of angle to build on. I'm just not seeing the angle to build on. Like, I know both of these rosters top to bottom, and I think the Rams might have one of the least deep teams in the league in terms of talent. Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that one too. Okay, Marvin, are we finally going to get the Buffalo-San Francisco Super Bowl we've been waiting for since 1990? Bro, I wouldn't be mad if we got that. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad because, listen, I'm one of the few people these last 2 years who's been critical of the Bills. Like, pretty much everyone's just like jerks and fleeciates the Bills the last 2 years and like they're guaranteed Super Bowl and all that. I've been kind of fading them. I'm not saying like they're going to lose games and stuff, but then fading them against the spread. But as someone, I've went to probably 50, 55 Buffalo Bills games since I've been a kid because it's 2 hours away. So yeah, man, I have no malice against the team, no malice against the city. They have a great set of fans. Some of the fans are a little bit ignorant, but I respect the passion. So yeah, man, I think it's a possibility if the Bills can get hot. But I do think people are getting a little bit too ahead of themselves because I don't think a lot of people watched their performance against the Chargers, and I don't think a lot of people watched their performance against the Patriots. I know the whole country watched that Bills-Cowboys game, but I'm still seeing some of the old problems that caused them to lose games to inferior opposition. Okay, here we go. I could go for Wendy's right now, man. I saw someone post that in the chat. What's up, St. Nick? What's up, St. Nick? Michigan versus Washington. Any opinions? What's the spread? Because money line, like I said, I don't watch a lot, man. I don't watch a lot, but I like this Michigan team. I like how they have that Alamo back against the wall mentality. I like the emotion that they play with. I watched the Ohio State game. I watched that Bama game. And I feel like after just surviving that Bama game, I think they're going to kick Washington's ass. Now, someone might know more than me because some of the problems with like Pac-12, Pac-10 schools historically were, they just didn't have the big uglies on the offensive line and defensive line. The skills, linebackers, quarterback, running back, they'd all be equal to the SEC teams, but they just don't got those big uglies up front who can win the battles. Now, I don't know what's going on with Washington. I did watch their game. I was impressed by Penix. I think he's very good. I'm excited. We finally have a good quarterback class coming into this league. Oh, dear me, we need it. After how many trash players we've seen this year. Trevor Siemian being one. And we desperately need some new blood in this league. So, Michael, man, you're here, man? I didn't know you were here, bro. Yeah, let's get you on, man. Let's get you on. Didn't know you're on. I been getting in a good flow, man. Been getting in a good flow, man. Yeah, Michael, man, I'll send you invite. Okay, here we go. Okay. Yes, Lawson, I saw you bitch slapping my Bills early on. Yeah. But bro, like I felt like they fumbled the bag, so to speak, to use like a hip hop reference. I felt like they fumbled the bag, man. Don't you think? I mean, last year they had the best team in the league, bro. They really did, top to bottom. That was the best team in the league, and I don't think they're. I don't think they're getting. I don't think they've gotten better. And I do think there might be some coaching problems. I mean, we saw them fire an offensive coordinator during the year. So whenever that happens, obviously you're struggling with with a coach, man. I mean, and I don't like how they use Diggs. Like that's been a complaint. Even my dad, like my dad's a big Diggs fan. He just hasn't liked how they've utilized him. And we've seen it the last 4 weeks. He's kind of been borderline milk cart. So, yeah, man, we'll see what the Bills can do. One of the big moments of this show was when last year we picked the Dolphins money line like week 4 or week 5 against the Bills. And, you know, that'll go down in history. But unfortunately, we can't do that again because they got jobbed. Betting, Lawson, who would you take in Survivor? There are teams I've picked starting from week 5. Okay, let me see. Lions, Fins, Seahawks, Ravens, Saints, Cowboys, Niners, Chiefs, Texans, Browns, Rams, Eagles, Bills, Patriots. Off the top of my head, I didn't see all the options. I was thinking maybe Jags or Raiders. Patriots or Raiders. Jags too. Patriots, Raiders, or Jags. You don't want to bet your season on a shit team like the Patriots, so I get it. Go Raiders. Michigan is 4.5. Thank you, Campbell. Yeah, I think Michigan can win by 10 points. But like I said, I want you guys to answer my question about I want you guys to answer my question about the trenches. Penix, I said it right. Michael, isn't his name Michael Penix? Or Penix? Or is it French? Yeah, like I don't think Washington's beating Dallas. I don't think it, but it happened last year. Vivian Duan, $20, thank you. And Vivian, good luck to your Buffalo Bills. Good luck to your Buffalo Bills. Unfortunately for the Dolphins bettors, we can't bet them this week. Your Bills are in a good situation, very good situation this week. Night game. And Michael Mann, I sent a message. I sent a message. Believe I did, yeah. Let's see if Michael Mann comes on. But yeah, having a good time going back and forth with you guys is always good. Okay, did I miss any questions on Patreon first? Okay. Yeah, is it? Yeah, like I Survivor's tough, man. To be alive right now, you're doing a good job. Lawson, do you think the Seahawks can cover -3 versus the Cardinals? Yeah, Mike. I really like it. It's on 2.5 on a lot of books too. I like that 2.5 obviously better. But okay, we saw the Cardinals stop the run a little bit better last week. But can we be honest about something? Can't we just say that was like more Eagles collapsed and the Cardinals getting better? Like we've been riding with the Cardinals a little bit this second half in terms of covering spreads. They completely laid an egg against the Bears, but they've had some good games where they covered spreads for us. But yeah, man, I like the Seahawks this game because I think the Seahawks are going to run the ball all over them. And you do worry about the Seahawks going to the desert. You do worry about Geno Smith's play. I don't think Kyler Murray is in full rhythm yet, although he is a lot more dangerous than Geno Smith. But I feel like Seattle will have the run game. And the run game is what wins games in January, December, when your season's on the fucking line. And I think Pete's going to have these boys ready. Like, I've never been like a big Pete Carroll enjoyer, but one thing I know about him, he gets his dudes ready at the right time, and they're going to be ready, man. And season's on the line. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, yeah. In dust, like I saw AJ Brown. Like I think that was completely real. I think he's about had it. Um, yeah, man. Michael, man, did you get the link? I think he disappeared. Okay, whatever. Okay, here we go. Yeah, yeah, like I have like a love hate relationship with Survivor. Like I think it's a good activity with your friends. Um, but at the end of the day, like I feel like it's something where people are set up to lose. Um, $100 for 48K. Where am I seeing it? Yeah, Black. I wouldn't be surprised because I know Michigan's quarterback is pretty good, but we've seen them just straight up run the ball. Like remember against Ohio State, like they threw it like 10 times. Whenever you got the better quarterback, you got to fucking punch his chance. Like that's what I'm saying. I just want to know how is this Huskies O line and D line, and you guys will obviously know more than me. Um, I that's the $1 million question for me. Okay, here we go. Okay, uh, Krishna, what's up, Krishna? Thank you, Lawson. Been following you a few years and chat on IG. Go Bills. Thank you, my man. Thank you, my man, for the donation. Yeah, bro. It's I do have a lot of Bills fans. Which surprised me because you guys know we're just here to make picks. We're here to make money. Our favorite team is the team we're betting. Um, that's how it goes. But fans don't like going against their own team. But yeah, man, I always enjoy talking to you, bro. And thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate it. JSUP, Michigan Moneyline College Fund. Bro, you called the Michigan one on Patreon the other day. You called it, bro, with the spread. Yeah, and Harbaugh, like, is this going to be his last dance? And that's what I'm wondering. Is this going to be Harbaugh's last dance? Marvin, I would not count Flacco and the Browns out. And we will look like geniuses if the Browns pull a Giants. Remember when the Giants came out of fucking nowhere, won like 4 or 5 straight at the end of the year, snuck into the playoffs. They absolutely destroyed my Vikings like 49-0 in the first round of the playoffs. They get up against an undefeated Pats team and they steal the game. Flacco's looking good, bro. Like he looked so bad against the Bears, but once he gets his rhythm, don't count him out. And then my other question, I'll get Michael Mann on now.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Mike? I'll just finish my thought, and you can respond to it. But man, if Flacco gets his rhythm, he is dangerous. Anyways, Mike, everyone was laughing at Tepper throwing a beer. They liked my joke that he threw it at you. So
I was sitting right above his press box, and trust me, if I had heard we were throwing beer, I would have been right down there throwing it right back at him. I cannot stand David Tepper.
That could be a retirement fund. If he hits you with it, he deserves it, man. And I don't like the lawsuit shit in this country. I think it's a big fucking issue. But if anyone deserves to be fleeced out of money, it's him. I mean, he will fleece himself out of money just with the way he hires and fires coaches. But yeah, man, Tepper's losing it, bro. He's losing it. He's melting before our eyes. Like even the Bears game a long time ago, he was just like, ugh, and it's pathetic.
Dude, I can't stand him. I want nothing more than to get him out of the Carolinas. I will be going to this Bucs game this weekend in Charlotte. for the pure reason of leading Panthers fans and yelling Tepper sucks. So if you hear that on TV, that's me. No, this guy.
What's the word for people who like pain and they get sexual enjoyment out of pain? Misogynist? No. What's the word? But anyways, Mike, yeah, go, man. It's the fucking NFL.
It's also
like, go.
It's also $10, so that helps.
It's fucking great. It's the NFL. Go have a good time. Like I didn't get you guys, man. When that situation went down, when you guys were playing Atlanta, I did not like that, man. Because, man, it's a long offseason.
Yeah, it's bad. And what irritates me, we need to talk about the games, but what irritates me about the whole beer situation with Tepper, I can understand you throw a beer at somebody, just like a split-second decision, like that happens. But he never even apologized for it until the NFL came after him and fined him. Like, he had 2 days to contemplate an apology, just be like, hey, look, sorry, like, man up, own what he did, and he chose not to do that. This is a guy who refused to take any responsibility for his actions, who's literally a man-child trying to run a football team, and I'm afraid he's going to keep the Panthers down for a very, very long time.
Yeah, Mike, and I've been telling you that for the last 2 years. I'm not liking this guy, and he can't buy his way out of this situation. Like, I know he's got the biggest dick in the room money-wise. Maybe Denver has more money, but he's up in the top 5.
If nothing else, he's willing to spend the most money, and that's really the only have. Because he will not – the thing is, he doesn't like anyone telling him that he's wrong. He has to – he wants yes men working for him. He doesn't want people who actually challenge him and hold him accountable. That's why he fired Steve Wilkes. That's why he fired Ron Rivera. That's why he got rid of Cam Newton. Like, all these guys who were trying to tell him to do the right thing, and he just refused to listen. And that's why we hired Frank Reich, and that's why we are where we are. So
yeah, so we're talking about this Bucs-Panthers game. Go Bucs, or are you thinking Panthers can cover?
I mean, I'm thinking I watched that whole Panthers-Jags game in person for 3 hours in person. And let me tell you, that's a defeated team. They have, what you don't see on TV is you don't see the constant lack of energy coming from the sideline. You don't see, no leaders on the team. You don't see people going up and down, high-fiving each other. No one seems to have any kind of control of what's going on over there. The only reason I'm not, riding Bucs win and cover is because it's in Carolina. And the Panthers, for whatever reason, seem to play actual competent football whenever they're in Charlotte. So maybe
they beat the Texans, that was pretty impressive. They play better at home. Like, their home road splits are completely crazy.
And it makes no sense. Bank of America Stadium is not a great home field advantage right now. So I don't get why they're doing this. But, part of the reason I was on Carolina last week was because they had played significantly better against the Falcons and the Packers going into that game. So I really thought that they'd just carry that into Jacksonville and put up a somewhat competent performance, that they would be able to cover and possibly win that game. But nope, it was peak Frank Reich season. Drop passes left and right, people run the wrong routes, people quitting on their routes. O-line wants to get Bryce Young killed. So yeah, I mean it was a travesty. I have no idea how this Bucs game's going to go. Part of me kind of wants us to lose just so we don't let New Orleans in the playoffs. But, yeah, that's where I stand. Don't bet it. Carolina and Tampa are both just too inconsistent.
Yeah, and someone wrote an interesting comment in the chat. I can't find it right now. Mentioned, Baker with Carolina. And Baker's had some really good games this year. And I just think maybe that's, kind of a microcosm for the system. It's just that. Look at how Baker plays outside of there and look at how he played in Carolina. It's just something is broken there top to bottom. And I don't even think we can blame Matt Rule or Frank Reich all that much because something's not functioning there. Even something as putting out a competent road performance. We didn't expect them to beat the Jags. I had the Jags to win in the cover because I know how this team is. And it's just something's not organized there, man.
No. And that's why I really hope we can just get a grown-up in the room at head coach. whether it's John Harbaugh, someone like Steve Wilkes, someone who can actually be a leader and rally that locker room. I'll take that over like a football IQ genius, honestly.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. What do you want to talk about this week? What did you think of my take that Miami got jobbed?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You were just at a game in Florida.
What's going to be really funny is when they play in like a week or two, and that game is in Miami and also on primetime. So they get jobbed twice out of that slot. But listen, though, real talk. This Miami Bills game seems to be everyone's go-to, like, want to bet of the week, and I don't understand it. Because there's a scenario where the Bills can clinch a playoff berth before this game even starts with the Jags and or Steelers losing. So we don't know where Buffalo's motivation to be. We've seen teams in the past, like they'll be fighting for a playoff berth going into the day, but then they'll clinch it at like 4 p.m. and then they'll just check out and not even show up to their game. So this Miami Buffalo game is an absolute do not bet for me. I don't think going off of the first matchup and how the Bills dominated is a good way to go about it. Ramsey didn't play in that game. Waddle's hurt now. Tyreek Hill barely even got the ball in that game. Like, it's just two separate teams from that time. So I really think this is the stay away game of the week. There's not a lot on the bone this week.
Mike, I think that's like a good perspective. And now, correct me if I know you've been watching NFL since you're probably 8 fucking years old. So I didn't look this up or research it. But from my memory, throughout my whole life, I felt like they threw all the games on at 1 o'clock. And then, like, if the Panthers were playing someone shitty, maybe they'll put that at 4 o'clock with 2 other games that have no implications. Or all the games that have any sort of implication or relation are played at the same time. When did they make this move?
I don't know. Well, and what's new is the Saturday games. I don't ever remember Saturday games being on week 18.
And we've been calling for Saturday games for years. It's just, I don't think you should fiddle with the week 18 emotions. Like we got lucky from a neutral fan perspective, how the Lions battled after getting eliminated early in the day. But that, like you said, that's a rarity, man.
Which, and that was BS too.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, bro. Like, what? So do you think the Dolphins are going to get beat?
I do. I think the most likely scenario is that the Bills need to win this game to make the playoffs. And that's just not something I'm willing to bet against. Additionally, the Dolphins seem like a team that's kind of crumbling. Their offense. Wait, am I lagging?
Yeah, you're back. You're back. I had an internet issue. Let me get off Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
We're good.
Anyway, the Dolphins seem like a team that's kind of crumbling before our eyes. They beat Dallas, but their offense didn't play well. Waddle's out now, and they got killed by Baltimore last week. And by the way, I know all the hype was on Lamar last week, but did anyone else notice how bad Tua played in that game? Like, why is that not getting talked about? Because he was horrible against the Ravens.
He was, man. And one thing teams are starting to do, like, for instance, what the Titans did to them on Monday night, they pretty much they were playing like a cover 2, but in like a 4-6 set, not like a true 4-6. They were just playing cover 2 every single play. And they would have the corner down in the box like an outside linebacker. And then he would just float because they want to clog the middle for him because he won't throw outside, maybe because the arm, but he hits deep balls. So
and then
he just doesn't have that zip.
And then you have the Eagles, who are like the exact opposite, and all they do is throw out routes like the entire game.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Eagles, man.
No, yeah, and one bet I do like this week, Giants or Eagles -5 at Giants. Give me the Giants to cover that all day. That might be. I really like that bet in New York's favor. The Giants have been fighting lately, and listen, I get the Giants suck against Philadelphia. I get they're kind of owned by them, but look, they have to break this streak eventually. And the Eagles are broken. They look like a team that's mentally defeated, And that defense doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Yeah, and what a time to play the Eagles too. And like you mentioned, there might be a lack of motivation because we're hearing they might sit Hurts. They're an old team, and people got on me for saying that earlier this year. They are an old team. If you look at their important impact players, they're all old in those positions, like Darius Slay, Fletcher Cox, Kelsey. They're all fucking old.
Look at their offensive line and look at the age average. It's a unit.
Yeah, man, and that's where I'm at with that. I'm excited to watch that game, and we had the Giants on Patreon last week. It was a criminal that the Giants didn't win that game.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor was absolutely fantastic.
No, they earned it. They earned it for sure. That was a game they definitely should have beaten or should have won.
Yeah, and guys, I don't know where Lauren is. So, yeah, I don't know if you saw it last Friday. My computer melted down, and then she was left alone on the stream. So,
yeah, carried the stream. I saw.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty good. Like, she carried it for 15 minutes. Credit to her.
Yeah. Were you able to get back on?
No, because my computer, it's very fast, but once it closes down, because I ran out of power, I thought I was charging, wasn't. So it just powered off. And then it took me like fucking 15 minutes to just boot it up.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a learn though. Shout out to her.
Yeah, man. Shout out. You got to start a Panthers podcast. Who's the biggest Panthers podcast?
Dude, nah, I don't have time to take a dump anymore. I'm not starting a podcast.
And do the Panthers have like a big YouTuber?
No, not really. They're really big on Instagram though.
Yeah, like I see all three of you guys work together. So.
Dude, yeah, dude, like we've started whole like protest and boycotts on Instagram. Like it is the Panthers Instagram community is elite. That's the one really thing we can hang our hat on as far as being like a fan base goes, I think.
Well, yeah, man, and there's different types of people on Instagram. Like, because I found Facebook, it's just like old people yelling about politics now and all that type of stuff. And Instagram seems like there's more like people our age who might want to go do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I love being on there. But
yeah, what's your best bet, man? What's your best bet?
Well, Giants and Eagles, I think Giants is probably the best one of the week. Just because we don't know what kind of mentality Philadelphia is going to enter this game with. And there's a good chance Dallas is minus 13 versus Washington. So I don't think the Eagles are going to be thinking that they can win the East in this game. So, you might see Hurts benched at halftime if that Washington game is going bad for him. Even if the Eagles play all 60 minutes, like that team just seems defeated. Like
I kind of agree. And we've seen this with teams coming off a Super Bowl loss before. We've seen them just completely run out of steam. So I think they're out of steam. When the Cardinals beat you, and listen, this was a terrible matchup for the Cardinals. Worst run defense in the league. And I'm seeing Swift only got like 14 carries. It was bad, man.
Yeah, they let him off the hook. And credit to Jonathan Gannon, though, too, for winning that game. I don't know if you saw that onside kick he did with like 5 minutes left in the game, but that was genius. That was the best coaching move of the year, what he did in that situation.
I've actually seen some better onside kicks. Like, for instance, in the Raiders-Colts game, the Raiders had a really nasty onside kick. I hope they're able to rejuvenate that play, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so – but yeah, like Falcons Saints. I think the Falcons beat them, bro.
Yeah, and let's not forget, like, I know everyone's hyping up the Saints because they looked good last week, but Saints have done that all year where their offense will have, like, one good week, and then they'll just completely shut off for, like, the next month. Like, they had a really good game against Indianapolis, and then they pretty much collapsed, like, a week or so later. I think it was against the Jaguars on primetime.
I agree, and like you mentioned this year, you mentioned it early in the year before it was obvious when everyone was on the Saints bandwagon. I think what you said earlier in the year is true. Everyone wants to point towards Carr, which, listen, I get it, but I do find it a little bit lazy. But I think people forget just how much the trench has deteriorated.
Oh yeah.
You reminded us earlier this year. And I don't know, man. And Atlanta's been pretty solid on the defensive line, more solid than I thought they would be.
No, you're right. Like they've actually been a pretty solid defense for the most part. They've choked in some big moments. I admit that, but they're not the unit you can just bulldoze like you could a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and Arthur Smith's got to have something to pull out of the hat because it's been a bad year. And like you mentioned, going into the year, it's criminal with the Falcons' talent level and schedule that they didn't win this division.
Yeah, they had no business, and they still have a chance to win the division, but they had no business losing to Carolina or losing to Tampa like they did. Like they've let some go this year, and if they had just put that together, they would be in the playoffs easy right now.
So what's the Falcons' situation? They need people to lose, right?
They need to beat New Orleans, and then they need Carolina to beat the Bucks so they can win the South. So it's not going to happen. We're not.
They don't got a pathway into the wild card.
I don't believe they do. I know New Orleans does, but even if you're trying to get in the wild card, you need a whole bunch of people to lose. Like that's one of those. That's like Philadelphia in like I think 2008, where they needed like 3 things to go their way before playing Dallas that night, and it all happened for them. It's like one of those situations. Atlanta and New Orleans hopes are not high if they're rooting for a wild card. They have to win the division, and the problem with that is you need the Panthers to win. So good luck.
Yeah, man. And Degen bet of the week, talk me out of this. I think the Pats win the fucking game against the.
You said Pats win and cover, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember watching. Dude, I was so proud of you. You've picked the Jets to win that matchup so many times over the years, and I keep telling Patriots own the Jets, and this could be Belichick's last game. They're gonna go all out. Belichick hates the Jets. I don't know what they did. Well, I know what they did to him. But he does not hold that. He does not hold back against that team. He tries to kill them every single time he plays them. And the Patriots the Patriots haven't lost the Jets in like 8 years. So.
And plus, man, yes, we know Bailey Zappi is absolute garbage, but I liked what the Patriots have been doing. Like they're getting better. Like they look pretty decent against Denver. Mm-hmm. So, and then like last week they were good. I do wonder, man. Okay, Zach Wilson ruled out. Yeah, this Trevor Siemian shit, or if it's not working, man. And I think the Patriots will stuff their run. And how about Dalvin Cook going to the Ravens, man? Like he won on that. And then like, listen, like I get the line completely. Like I think this Jets team is a lot better than the Patriots, especially if you look at the defense.
No, agreed.
But how many guys on that defense are still grinding? And don't the Jets have like 5 or 6 free agent defensive players who know they're going to cash in? Like, I just don't know how much passion they're going to have.
And not to mention, like, okay, I think we can all agree this game is going to be relatively low scoring. The Patriots seem to manage and do much better in those type of low scoring, grinding out affairs than the Jets do. The Jets, every time it's like 15-12, the Jets seem to lose. Anytime it's low scoring like that. So I really like the Patriots here.
And I'm worried about this Nathaniel Hackett thing. Because honestly, I get the offensive line is complete shit. But man, they haven't been able to put up a fight. Like this defense was good enough to be able to grind out like 9 wins. And they're not even close. And so I'm worried about Rodgers when he comes back, man.
Yeah. And so are we I don't get why we're just giving solid Hackett a pass this whole season just because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Like, yeah, that's tough, but are you saying your season's over week 1 and that you're just automatically safe from there just because your best player goes down?
Yeah. What would you do with Salah? Like, I've been leaning I like Salah.
But I think,
go on.
and I like Salah. I think he should stay, but I definitely think that there should be some rumors brewing about him being on the hot seat.
Agreed. And listen, man, I defended him, but that Browns performance was scary. Seeing that performance, and then also like, so with Nathaniel Hackett, with the evidence we have, it's Aaron Rodgers just calling the fucking plays and doing all the fucking work.
I
mean, because it's bad, man.
That might be better.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. And then that's Rodgers' boy. So, the Jets aren't going to chuck Rodgers. And no one wants to chuck Rodgers at this point because, man, I don't think we've seen an athlete that I wouldn't even use the word unhinged. Like, he just doesn't give a fuck, man.
Nah, he doesn't.
Yeah, man. And go on.
No, I'm curious to see what the Jets look like next season.
I want to see Rodgers go out with a bang, man.
I hope we see some exciting stuff out of that team. But no, you want to talk about another coach who's gotten the pass. Matt LaFleur has really, dude. I don't get why. I can kind of get it now because Jordan Love is looking very promising as of late. But they were sucking earlier in the year, and no one was pointing the finger at him at all.
No one ever points the finger at him. Like when they got woodshedded against San Fran in the playoffs at home at Lambeau, everyone just pointed towards Rodgers. And then last year, everyone didn't really give him any criticism, and it was absolute garbage last year, Yeah. And then like this year, like you said, they've left some wins on the table for sure. And they've gotten worked in a lot of games. So I agree with you, man. Like, I don't know why he doesn't get enough praise. Is it because, like, he gets his first job and then he wins like 13 with Aaron Rodgers, so we instantly think he's a good coach? Like,
and how Joe Barry, their defensive coordinator, is still employed, I don't know. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm a Panthers fan, but when you let the Panthers offense, go down on you like they did, you got to be fired. Like that was inexcusable.
I agree, man. And like you said, I don't think there's a unit, offense or defense, in this league that has underperformed more than this defense. This defense is actually really nice.
Oh, agreed.
Like, could you imagine what Rashawn Gary would do in a competent system? And then also, listen, they've invested a lot in the secondary, and they got good players there. But at any given Sunday, you could see someone put up 350 on them.
No, for sure. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, man. And so Bears, you think LaFleur is going to choke against the Bears?
No, I have the Packers to win. Like you said, the way to beat the Packers is to throw on them. Bears are not built to do that. Additionally, listen, I know the Bears defense has gotten a lot better lately, and credit to them. But a big thing that's really helping that defense stay afloat is the amount of turnovers they're getting, the amount of interceptions. And Packers don't turn the ball over. So I think Packers win this. Again, don't bet it. Don't ever count out Joe Barry's defense to do something stupid. But yeah, I like the Packers to win and cover.
Degen bets of the week are Pats and Panthers. You got some balls, my man, going on the Panthers. Like, if you were just a strict fundamentalist better and looking at Carolina's home form, you would probably bet them. I just don't think you could after what we saw. And like, I'm even questioning like if we can even judge Bryce Young fairly at this point.
I'm telling you, that offensive line is on a side quest to get him on IR. Like, they hate him. I mean, they don't pick up blitzes. They quit after 2 seconds of blocking. Like, it's amazing how much this unit has decreased from how good they were last year.
Well, and now that NFL players and ex-players have podcasts, we know that has happened before.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't seem like Bryce Young would be a person who would create any sort of malice towards anyone. But
no, I was, but they do play like they're trying to get him killed. I mean, there's just the effort is so minimal, And granted, the scheme sucks. I understand that. Like the scheme that Frank Reich tried to implement was probably the worst thing you could do with the talent you had. I mean, the Panthers last year were almost in the playoffs because they were a power football team. You know, we're going to line up under center, we're going to hand it off, we're going to have a fullback, and we're going to hit you in the mouth every single play. And that's how their offense became competent. They don't even carry a fullback on their roster anymore. They've tried to be a complete air attack, which is dumb because you don't have receivers who can separate. You have a rookie quarterback, and your offensive line is not meant to pass protect. So, like, it was literally the worst possible formula for the Panthers offense coming into the year, and they just have never recovered.
Yeah, and also, like, wouldn't you want to stick with that because that's working in this league?
Yeah.
Look at some of the offenses that use fullbacks. Miami, San Fran. Like, it makes a difference. Like, even Houston. They use back really well, and he's more like an H-back, but they put him at fullback, and it works. And with a young quarterback, why not establish the run, play action, make it fucking simple? And have they even made a playoff play action this whole fucking year? I remember watching that Bucks game where they just covered by the skin of their teeth. Man, I barely saw any play action, and they were running it good that day too. We didn't see any play action.
If they tried to play action, it would probably be a touchdown because the defense would not believe the Panthers actually tried it. Like, I mean, they have hardly done any play action this entire season, and it's really a shame. But
Jarrett Hart saying take Winfield over 0.5 interceptions for plus 520.
You know what? Like,
I don't hate that. I don't.
Bryce Young has not been throwing many interceptions lately. He threw one against the Jags that was tipped off a tight end's hands. And then before that, he was like leading the league in the longest streak without an interception. So I actually don't like that.
We'll see, man. And any other games you want to talk about before we go? Playoffs coming up, going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for these playoffs. You know, this is a hard week to bet. Like, psychology is probably the theme of the week. So there's really not to chew like we said initially. The one thing I kind of will say to finish is, man, I'm worried about this officiating going into the playoffs.
Something bad's going to happen.
Yeah. There's at least one or two teams are going to get screwed out of a playoff. Like, as much as I enjoyed New Orleans, the no call against New Orleans about 5 years ago, I don't want to see that again.
We're going to end up seeing something. They're going to put another rule like challenging pass interference that they didn't do right. They didn't do it right. They did it so bad, Mike.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I don't know if you were on earlier, but I pretty much gave my opinion on it. Like, the first 8-9 weeks, like, listen, there were missed calls. Like, of course there were. But they weren't in the way. And I didn't feel like they were deciding games I bet on. But after around week 9, week 10, it's been an absolute avalanche of shit. And it just keeps getting worse.
No, it does. And listen, that whole Detroit-Dallas situation, like, say what you will about the Lions trying to throw off the Cowboys defense by having 3 linemen walk up to the ref. But the ref's the one who called out the wrong play. And they pretty much guaranteed the Lions would get a penalty. Like, you can't do that. And you know, you want to boost support for the NFL is rigged. That Lions-Cowboys game should be your number one, like, case scenario, because that was so bad on the officials' part, and I cannot believe that did not go more talked about.
Yeah, it's bad, man, and I'm sick. And like I said earlier, like, I'm sick of betting a game and they miss a call that takes points or turnovers off the board. Then Gene Sterather goes, no, they got it wrong, and then nothing gets changed. And they're deciding games. And also, like, bro, that Kadarius Toney call, was it the right call? Of course. But the issue is, when they looked at the film, he lined up offside 6 times before that, and they didn't throw it. Why are they so trigger happy in the last 2 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Great question. Great question. Yeah, and personally, the Chiefs have probably been the beneficiary of that, more of ref ball more than anybody. So the
Chiefs Jets game earlier this year, my God, man, that was like WWE.
Or your Vikings. Your Vikings was really bad too. Like they slipped by a lot of teams thanks to some officiating. And the fact that Mahomes and Andy Reid were just going after him for that one call, which was the correct call at the end of the day, like, dude, that was some petty crap on their part.
Yeah, and but yeah, man. Anyways, Mike, I don't think it's gonna get better. Like they're so cheap. The fact they don't even have professional refs is such. Dude, it's disgusting.
I mean, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. How can we not afford full-time referees?
Yeah, man, and also like not even to go in another thing that bothers me. I was watching the Hard Knocks in season with the Dolphins, and I'm watching Jalen Phillips blow out his ACL in the Meadowlands, which seems to get so many victims. I was just left scratching my head, like, why aren't we on grass, man?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what's annoying about that too is more teams are moving to turf. Like it's not like that's trending upward in a positive direction.
Yeah, because grass it costs more money to maintain, and more people have to have jobs, and they don't want other people getting a cut of the pie. It's fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah, and turf looks nicer apparently, according to owners.
Huh?
Which I don't even think it does.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Give me grass.
Yeah, and for the World Cup, they're gonna put all the fucking grass in.
Yeah. So I don't understand it, man.
I don't get it, bro.
I'm ready to get rid of Goodell.
Yeah, man. I think it'll be positive once he goes.
Yeah. I will always love Goodell for giving us the NFL during the COVID season, but ever since, some of the decisions he's made have just been horrible.
Yeah, and luckily we haven't seen too many NFL players getting into trouble because, man, he's trigger happy. So
yeah, we're gonna fine $15,000 for accidentally hitting a player in the head, but we're gonna fine or hold officials accountable for literally costing a team the 2 seed.
The fines have been insane this year. Yeah. Like Jalen Warren's fines, when he didn't even do anything, he was picking up a blitz.
Yeah,
it was more than his game chalk.
Saquon got one like that too. And God bless you if you're on a rookie deal,
bro. Yeah. And I don't eat with taxes and everything. Like you getting fined at, anyways, yeah, like what can you do? Like picking up a blitz is gonna be a collision no matter what. And like even Brady came out and said this year, like, bro, like they're doing too much, and there's no way you can police this game. And secondly, people like this game because of the physicality, and I think everyone knows what they're getting into when they sign up. And can't we just live with that?
This level for sure.
Fuck, you could turn on the TV and say like, my goodness, I don't know if I'd want to fucking be out there with a defensive lineman who runs a 4.5 40 chasing my ass down.
Yeah,
that's why we respect these guys so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're getting absolutely dogged for playing the game that they grew up playing.
Yeah, man, and they're saying like, oh, less kids are playing because it's dangerous. No, it's because everyone's fucking lazy now.
I don't even know if that's true.
I don't think it's true either. You
go to a high school football game nowadays, and it's like there's some Goliaths out there playing nose tackle. Like it's ridiculous. I don't even think that's true of a statement.
Yeah, I don't think it's true. And like this sport's bigger than ever. Like the fact that this sport has the monopoly when there's 4 or 5 other big leagues in the United States, and pretty much I looked at the top 100 TV shows of the year. It's like 80 of it was NFL.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And I don't think I think the parents don't want to take the fucking kids to practice, to be completely frank with you.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, man. And go on.
I don't know how the NFL is trending up, like you said. I think I saw that on Christmas Day, the Raiders-Chiefs game easily, and I mean easily, cleared everything the NBA had going on that day. So
Yeah, they got like 40 million. One
yeah,
of those NBA games only got 1.2 million.
yep, because the NFL, baby.
Yeah, and also like another thing with this, this is kind of like the media issue, and I felt uncomfortable with this. I was out on the island, but you remember last year after Tua took that second concussion,
Yeah,
Thursday night, bro, I didn't like the people telling him to retire. Like
no,
I really didn't like that, and I don't know why I didn't like that so much, but it's just yeah, man, that's where we're at with it.
and for the record, like his concussions were not that bad. Like it wasn't like he got knocked. Like
Yeah,
there's like I truly believe that there are a lot of players who are getting called out of games for concussions now, whereas 10 or 15 years ago they wouldn't even be pulled out of the game.
I agree, and they're not even doing that right,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And but yeah, man, like I agree with this guy. Like, leave the gladiator sport alone. Karens go watch soccer. Yeah, man, because it's just a bunch of people policing other people's lives. And the fact that, like, if it's true that less kids are playing youth football, middle school football, it fucking depresses me,
No.
to be honest, because I know they want to play.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mike, have a great one. Great having you on. Nice talking to you, bro.
Yeah, I'll see you, boss. Hopefully we can get Lauren back next week.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'll ask her where she's at. But
Well,
yeah,
it's a degenerate week. She took the week off. You know, nothing too good on the plate this week. So
yeah. I'm excited for the playoffs, though. I'm gonna go live for some games. So
next week is gonna be crazy. I'm so excited for Wild Card Weekend.
yeah, dude. People in the chat, they're even getting me excited. They're saying I didn't check this myself, but they're saying we're going to get Rams Lions.
Bro,
First round, baby. Woo!
That's why, like, if the Lions had beaten Dallas, that would never have happened. NFL wants Lions and Rams to play each other, and I am here for it 100%.
I'm looking forward to that. I think the Lions spanked their ass, but
I don't know. Well,
we'll see, man. We'll see. The Rams are a tough team to judge.
Yeah, more experience.
Yeah. All right, bro. I'll see you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right, have a good night, Lawson.